Hello, it's Leontine from Little Lovely Crafts and welcome to day 4 of my holiday card series. I made the original card a while ago after the fall-winter release came out and I decided to remake it and film it for you guys to see. I'm starting off by inking a panel of white cardstock with some fresh lavender ink from Lawn Fawn. I will speed up the process because it's pretty boring to watch in real time. I decided to use a makeup brush so I could spread the color more evenly than with a sponge. I'm starting on the outside and then I'm working my way in until I've covered the entire panel. I am not too worried about those little spots that have a bit more ink than the rest, because once the ink is dry, it sort of disappears into the background. Now I've die cut another piece of white cardstock with the outside in stitched rectangle stackables, the largest one, and I'm going to cover that in minty fresh ink from Lawn Fawn. I will use this piece of white cardstock for two things. First of all, it's going to be my frame, and I will die cut 2 snow globes from the inside piece, but I want them to be the same minty fresh color, so I will cover it with ink. Don't ask me why, but for some reason I decided to ink up the panel first instead of die cutting it first, which would have been much easier, but hey. I forgot to mention I'm using 2 frames on top of each other to lift it up a bit more because my shaker element is raised up as well. And here's where I thought, hey, maybe I should die cut it, so I did that. Today I noticed something strange about my die. The edge here has got a piece missing. I think they might have cut it wrong or something, but luckily my scalloped edge is intact, so it doesn't affect my frame. And now I will die cut that purple cardstock as well. Once I've got enough minty fresh ink on the panel, I'm going to cut out the snow globe and also the shaker piece. I used the outside in stitched rectangle stackables again on a piece of white cardstock, and I will use the stitched hillside borders to get a nice snowy hill. I used a little bit of minty fresh ink on the outside of my snowy hill. Now I will get my Woodland Critter Huggers winter add-on, and I'm going to use that little Santa hat. And I will use the main piece on my purple cardstock, and for those white accents I will just use a little scrap of white cardstock. If you prefer it, you could also use glitter cardstock like pixie dust from Lawn Fawn, but I decided to go with plain white cardstock today. So now I've die cut everything I need to die cut and I can work on the stenciling. I'm going to use the Snowflake Trio stencil from Lawn Fawn with some Nuvo Glimmer paste, which is called Moonstone. And I will apply it with a little palette knife and just apply a thin layer and let it dry while I work on the rest of the card. I'm going to stamp the few things that I need for today's card, and I'm going to color them with my Copic sketch markers. If you want to skip this step, just go ahead to about 10 minutes and 10 seconds. I need a little piece of white cardstock for the base of my snow globe. I totally forgot about that. So I die cut the entire snow globe shaker piece, and I will just draw a little line, and then I'm going to cut out the piece that I need. And I've decided I wanted to give it a bit of a wood color, so I got my E34 and E37 marker. I also got a piece of acetate, and I just taped my little frame on it, and then I'm just going to cut around it. You could of course die cut the acetate as well, but I didn't mind cutting it today with my scissors. I already glued all of those little parts from my Santa hat, and now I'm going to glue the rest of my card as well. And once I finish doing that, I'm going to use my 5mm wide, 2mm thick foam tape, and I'm gonna go around the snow globe to make my shaker. I'm making a thin shaker today, so I'm only going to use one layer of foam tape and just put some chunky glitter and some iridescent beads in there.
Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree, thy leaves are so unchanging. Oh Christmas tree, much pleasure thou canst give me. Oh Christmas tree, much pleasure thou canst give me. How often has the Christmas tree afforded me the greatest glee?
My stenciled background needs to dry just a little bit more, so I'm going to stamp my sentiment on the front of the card. I'm going to use Holiday Greetings from Winter Village, and I'm going to use some fresh lavender to stamp it in a color that matches with the rest of the card. And the stamping tool is really easy because then you can stamp the sentiment as many times as you want to get the perfect impression. I'm going to continue assembling my card, and I also got some Let It Shine paper, the 6x6 pack, and I'm going to glue that behind the card to give it just a little bit more interest.
How richly God has decked thee, thou bidst us true and faithful be, and trust in God unchangingly. Oh Christmas tree, how richly God has decked thee.
I'm cutting the Let It Shine paper at 5 3/4 and 4 1/2. And once I finish doing that, I just need to attach it to a card base and the card is all done. And this is the result. I hope you liked watching today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I hope I will see you next time, but until then, stay safe and I hope you have a crafty week. Bye!